Hello everybody, my name is Jared Bradshaw and I am a Henry player. We have so many Henry players here today and I'm so excited to be here on this stage that I've never stood on. And I know that magic is made here. They just had the Henrys a week ago, they had Hairspray 2 weeks ago. They're doing a production of A Year with Frog and Toad, A Year with Robert and Frog and Toad, obviously today. I'm so glad to have you all here to celebrate Robert. We might cry, but this is going to be a celebration, okay? This is not, my dad was the pastor at First Baptist McDonough for 22 years, and he did funerals like for a living, and I cannot imagine doing that. This is more of a show, okay? So we're going to celebrate Robert the way that he would want to be sent up, and I know he's watching. I would like to bring up my friend, Mr. Russell Whipple, right now. I asked Russell if he participated. He said, I would like to say a prayer to kick things off and say how thankful we are for Robert. Come on up here, Russell. Thank you so much for doing that job since my dad is not here to do that. I appreciate it, sir.
Yes. I am a player too, a Henry player. Thank you very much. My lovely wife, Henry player, of course.
Paula Whipple.
Oh yes, she's retired. I still 35 years. Hallelujah. Well, we made it August the 24th, but 34 is working on 35. Let's go to the good Lord in prayer. Dear, kind, and most gracious Heavenly Father, Lord Jesus, we come to uplift you, praise you, and give you all the glory. Jesus, we praise you today because you gave us a gift. Every good and perfect gift comes from you, and you gave us Robert. You gave us a man that could get on stage and make you cry or make you laugh at the same time. Lord, I just say, like Tina Turner said, he was simply the best. Lord Jesus, I thank you for the players. I thank you for all the wonderful gifts that you have given us throughout the years. I thank you, Lord, for the gift that you will give them further in the future. Lord, I thank you tonight for those who have traveled from Prosper, Texas, and all over the country to be here. What a wonderful gift. Lord Jesus, I just pray that tonight that we praise you for giving us that wonderful gift, and that we celebrate Robert because he will celebrate us. Jesus, we give you all the praise and all the glory in your name, and it's Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Russell. I appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
Russell, you are sitting right up there.
You're the man.
That was good. I love that. Come on in, guys. Sit in the middle if you can for the slideshow over here. This is going to be a special afternoon. Thank you for coming. I can't believe Mark just flew in for Texas from this. I flew up last night from Orlando. My wife and I work at Disney World now, and my daughter has camp in the morning, and my wife performed today. So I'm sorry they're not here because you would love them. They're adorable. But we have so many Henry players that have come here today and pay tribute to Robert. And let's go to the next slide here. I want you to see this Henry Players logo. I'm so glad to be here in this amazing new space, this black box. Let's go to the right, click to the right. There we go, amazing. And I got my start in this next picture here. Check out this next picture. This is 1992. If you see the little boy in the stripes and the bow tie that's wearing too much makeup, that's me. Shoo-poo-pee, the girl is hard to get. And that's Robert Crawford, my hero on the left. Now, this is the first show I ever did. I was playing soccer at the time. My mom had me audition for this. She played the mayor's wife, Eulalie McKechnie-Shin. And she said, you should audition for the Henry Players. And I did a bell kick, and they were like, you're in. And I had a blast. More on Music Man later. But I'm very excited because I think my favorite production was the next slide here. Much later, look at Robert. Look at me and Robert. This is actually on 8th Avenue in New York City. Robert, in the Broadway shows I was in, Forbidden Broadway, Jersey Boys, Charlie Chocolate Factory, he'd be driving and he would stop in and see me. He'd come and see me in the show, and we'd go out and have a drink and take him backstage, and I love it. But the next slide here, the next production, is of course the Fantastics. And there's Miss Betty Ward right there. There's Robert in green, if you can see. Robert is wearing his shirt from the Henry Players from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Mac McClendon, there's Kate Coffey down there, Monica, Sue Ellen Crawford, and of course, Randy Chafin. Now, Sue Ellen was going to play here today, but she was stung by a wasp yesterday. She ballooned up and was like, I've got to take some medicine and I can't be in the car for 2.5 hours there and back. So we're lucky because we have Broadway's Robert Ray on the piano here. Robert's one of my hometown heroes. Robert is the music man in Atlanta, man. If you see him playing any cabaret or concert, he is always performing. How late were you performing last night in Atlanta? Midnight. And so Robert is playing for us on this keyboard. This keyboard, Melanie and Robert have donated. It's brand new. I just put it together 2 hours ago. We're donating it to the Henry Players, and there's his name and the Henry Players on the side of it. So it's an honor. But I would love to ask Mr. Randy Chafin if he could come up here. Randy, thank you so much. Randy was one of my heroes, and he played El Gallo and the Henry Players, and then I learned everything from him. I played the boy, and when I went to college, I got to play El Gallo, and I stole everything from him.
So take it, please, guys. I really appreciate it.
Try to remember the kind of September when life was slow and oh so mellow. Try to remember the kind of September when grass was green and grain was yellow. Try to remember the kind of September when you were a tender and callow fellow. Try to remember, and if you remember, then follow. Try to remember when life was so tender that no one wept except the willow. Try to remember when life was so tender that dreams were kept beside your pillow. Try to remember when life was so tender that love wasn't ever about to billow. Try to remember, and if you remember, then follow. Deep in December, it's nice to remember, although you know the snow will follow. Deep in December, it's nice to remember, without a hurt, the heart is hollow. Deep in December, it's nice to remember the fire of September that made us mellow. Deep in December, our hearts should remember and follow.
Ray and Randy Chafin. And now, if I can, I would like to ask Miss Amy Chafin to come up. Can we go to the next slide if we could? Amanda and Elise, thank you so much for helping us out. Look at those pictures from back in the day. There's Mac McClendon, Betty Ward. There's Robert with his bald cap on, and me and wow, amazing. Adrian Glass, Kate, amazing. I can't wait to hear. We have Eliza Doolittle here, ladies and gentlemen. She needs her thing, that's okay. Now, of course, Amy's an amazing musician, singer, music director, choral leader, and they did an amazing production. Let's do it. Hike them up, that's what I'm doing. Hiking it up. Let's go to the next slide if we can, because we have a couple photos of them. Okay, there's Randy one more time. Let's look at the next one. Oh yeah, there we go. Look at those guys. These are both in My Fair Lady, right? Please, take it, Amy.
I Actually, Randy's going to say something first.
Yeah, just a couple of things. You know, when I first started with players back, I guess in the mid-90s, Robert was immediately my mentor, like Jared's talking about. I was pretty green to the stage, and he always had positive things to say, never anything negative. He's always a good source of good energy, and I'll remember as such. Of course, then we had a lot of fun too, back behind the wings. I can remember one time in South Pacific in the mid-90s, I was playing a serious role. I was the lead French planner, Bill the Beck, thank you.
Try to remember.
Exactly. Anyway, Robert was Luther Billis, who was the comic relief of the show a lot of times. He actually, with the crew in the Army, would have a variety show. They had one scene where they had a variety show, and the guys dressed up in hula skirts and coconuts. So I was backstage. I was in the wing waiting to come on for the next scene. It was kind of a serious scene because I was looking for the nurse that I was trying to woo or whatever, and it was like I was trying to get a character. And I'm thinking, what's my next line? You know, and okay, I got to do this. So when the scene changed, Robert comes sashaying out, looking at me, and he kind of does a little shimmy. He says, "Do you like my coconuts?" So the only thing I could say was, "Yes, I love them."
There are people who perform on the stage, and then there are those rare individuals who become the heart of the stage. Robert Crawford was one of those people. For so many of us memory players, Robert wasn't simply an actor. He was a force of nature. He possessed a razor-sharp wit, an endless supply of hilarious stories, and a gift for making everyone around him laugh. His voice was unmistakable, rich, resonant, and warm. Yet it wasn't just the beauty of his singing that captivated audiences. It was his remarkable ability to interpret a song. Robert had a way of speaking the lyrics as naturally as a conversation, drawing every listener into the story with humor and passion and authenticity. Every role he portrayed became uniquely his. Shake your head if you agree with me.
Yeah.
Of all the characters he brought to life, my favorite was Professor Henry Higgins in My Fair Lady, where I had the privilege of playing Eliza Doolittle opposite him. And one scene will forever bring a smile to my face. The famous diction lesson with the marbles. Robert took obvious delight in that scene, perhaps a little too much delight, stuffing just a few more marbles into my mouth than Professor Higgins had intended. So as I struggled to keep the marbles in while mumbling my lines and keeping a straight face, I finally spit them all out and continued my gobsmacked facial expression as I blurted out the line, "I swallowed one." And of course, Robert, it just became one of those unforgettable moments of live theater that no rehearsal could ever recreate. Robert's mischievous grin made the audience laugh, and it reminds me and remains one of the most favorite memories of sharing the stage with him. But the Robert that we knew off stage was just as special. One Thanksgiving, he surprised our family by showing up unannounced and joining us for dinner. Natalie and Matthew were thrilled, and Randy and I felt honored that he chose to spend part of his holiday with us. It said so much about who he was, that friendships were never merely confined to rehearsals and performances. Robert made people feel like family, and somehow he made himself part of ours. The lights will continue to shine on stages where Robert once stood, but there will always be an empty place where his laughter, his booming voice, his impeccable timing, and his generous spirit once filled the room. We are all better because we knew him. Robert, thank you for the memories, the laughter, the music, and the friendship. You gave us performances we will never forget, but even more importantly, you gave us yourself. You will deeply be missed and lovingly remembered by the Chapin family, your friends, and your theater family for years to come. One Chapin family member who is currently working in California and unable to be here today had a few things to add about Robert.
Crawford, what a fun human being was what I can best describe him as. He always brought levity into any situation, and that's I kind of reveled in that. I looked up to him, and it was the Crawford cast parties are some of the fondest moments of my existence. Me and my late sister would talk about these parties and what we witnessed and the life lessons learned at the Crawford cast parties were, going to stay with me until I'm on the ground too. And I just remember Sue Ellen, Katie, and Robert. They would throw down, and it was an epic event, to say the least. And he was a kind soul. Robert would tell you like it is, but he always had some empathy in the way he delivered it. And he will be missed. He will be missed, and he was a talent for sure. He lit up any cast that he was a part of, any performance that he was involved with. It made it better. It really, really did. And I loved him. He was a friend. And like I said, he will be missed.
Amen.
Thanks, Matthew. He's talking away. Still talking. Take your final bow, dear friend. The applause will never truly end. We love you, Robert.
Thank you. Of course, we're all here today because of Robert, but we would not be here without our next two friends coming up. If I could invite John Willard and Debbie Hill to come up here. Can we go to the next slide here? The Henry Players started back in, what year was it, 91, 92?
Well, we met and organized in 91.
91, okay.
First show was 92. Yes.
Wow, and this was what? Music Man was in the end of 92, I think.
No,
And, but look at this. Do you recognize anybody in the room here? Oh, I think so. Kimberly Stroud. Where's Kimberly? Raise your hand, Kimberly. Kimberly was my dance partner in the show, and I'm the one wearing too much makeup. And that was the moment when I decided, you know what? I don't want to play sweaty sports with boys anymore. I want to dance with girls. And it changed my life. But look at the next picture of how lavish the Henry Players used to be on this big stage. Can we go to the next slide here? Look at the King and I. Wow, ladies, so I'm going to let you share about why we're all here.
okay.
Thank you. I've got one more microphone too.
We each have a microphone. Oh, wow.
We can't see it at Henry Players.
We always had to project. We had no microphones.
Right, and that's why people ask me why I'm so loud, is because I was in theater before we had microphones. But anyway, in 1991, I met Dawn through a mutual friend who knew that we were each talking about starting a theater group. So we went for coffee, and then we put a thing in the paper and asked anybody who was interested in starting a local theater group to have a meeting. And we all got together. I don't think there's anybody else here that was at that meeting. Are there?
Is there one?
I know.
D? Was it D?
D, okay. So remember that first meeting. Well, Dee and Dawn and I were in the delivery room when the Henry players were born.
I have to make an announcement about the paintings, okay? So, you know, here we come back to Henry County after being gone for umpty years. Bob and I graduated from Henry County High School 150 years ago. I meet Debbie. I go home to Bob and I'm so excited. I said, Bob, I met Debbie Hill and we're gonna start a theater group. And he said, in Henry County? I said, yes. He said, maybe a bowling alley? So, we're so proud that the Henry players are still going 36 years later.
Right, it's wonderful. In the first part of '92, the first show we did was Hello Dolly. We borrowed money from her parents, and everybody in town gave us credit for the sets and the printing and everything. And we said, you know, if anybody comes, we'll pay you back. Well, it was a great success, so we paid back everybody, and then we did a second show, Barefoot in the Park, in the summer. And at that point, we realized this might actually work. We could actually maybe schedule 4 shows a year, and the first show for that first season was Music Man. That's when Robert showed up. And Dee was directing Music Man, and from that point on, the rest is history. Robert owned the stage when he was on it. He wasn't a classical singer like Randy or Jeff Cooper or several others, but he could sell a song. And it didn't matter what he was playing. I mean, he could be the Cowardly Lion, he could be the King of Siam, he could be King Arthur, he could be a dead Jewish grandmother in Fiddler on the Roof.
Grandma's Idol. Yes.
And he just owned it. And besides that, I think that the reason he could play all of these characters and sell it so is that because Robert Crawford himself was a character. I remember him telling me one time at my house, Debbie, only a woman would hang a mirror over the toilet where a man has to stand there and watch himself. And he was great. He loved people. He loved cast parties. Sometimes he loved the cast party so much that the host would go to bed and come up the next morning and Robert would still be there. He would have crashed on the couch or something, but that's fine. He just loved people. And Robert loved women, but Robert wasn't a womanizer kind of person. He was always the Southern gentleman.
Yes.
He was respectful. I think that's why he wanted to do Steel Magnolias, not once, but twice, 10 years apart, because he just really enjoyed women and their perspective on life. And he was incredible. He was also infuriating. I directed him numerous times, and the term "be off book by" and absolutely no meetings. Robert was off book on opening night. That was it.
That's right.
And I think his favorite part was maybe Audrey Chu, the serial killer plant, because he didn't have to be on stage for the whole part. He could read it backstage, but he was, he was so special. And I hate that we lost touch the last few years, but the main thing that I don't know if all of you realize is how important he was technically.
Technically, he saved our bacon.
He saved our bacon. He showed up on that third show just when we were getting started. And Robert knew all about lights, all about sound, where we could acquire them cheap, how we could rent them, and then how to make them work. And between him and Bill Russell and Charlie Hawes, we had a hell of a tech team. We even had church members. No techie, no tech. And I think now that we've lost Robert and Bill and Charlie, I think they're up there going, hey, let's do a show. Let's do a show. The way we used to. So, Robert, I loved you. My husband loved you. Our family loved you. Robert made this group a family.
Yes.
Because this was his family. He brought his family to us, and we all were a family. And that's all I can say. He was wonderful. We loved him. We miss you. And
Thank you so much. I so appreciate you ladies.
Is
Legends.
there anyone here that is involved with the Henry Players today?
Yeah, there's several people.
Several,
Yeah.
wonderful. Congratulations for keeping it going so long.
Yeah, and we're so glad to, I'm gonna swap microphones. We're so glad, Amanda and Elise, give them a round of applause. They have been so wonderful to donate the space today. Just so wonderful to donate the space. And talk about Robert being the showman. When I was 12 in The Music Man, I was in awe of him. I was like, oh wow, how does he do that? How does he remember all those words? He was like a magician. And I remember asking him when I was a kid, because I sing this song now in concert. And I said, how do you remember all those words? And you got trouble. And he said, well, you have to memorize it, but I like to do it with no music, and I like to snap. And he would do it like this. Everybody snap with me. Don't get any faster though. And he'd go, well, you got trouble, my friend. Right here, I'd say trouble right here, River City, why sure, I'm a video player, certainly mine. You probably say it, I'm always mighty, probably say it. I consider that the hours I spend with a cue in my hand are golden. Help to cultivate a horse sense with a cool head and a keen eye. Did you ever take and try and give an ironclad lead to yourself from a 3-rail billiard shot? And I was like, wow, unbelievable. And then I got to see him star in South Pacific, and we did The Fantastics and The King and I in our unbelievable non-Asian production of The King and I. Only, in Fiddler on the Roof, we probably had a couple Jewish people, but like it's rare, you know. We were breaking boundaries in McDonough in the 90s. Let's go to the next slide here. That's a King and I picture there. This is the amazing Kate Coffee Bacon. Everybody give Kate a round of applause. Now, Kate and I did quite a few shows together. And let me be a gentleman and get that for you, I apologize. Kate and I danced in a few shows and sang and acted in a few shows. I'll never forget your high kicks in Oklahoma. You remember in Oklahoma?
Impressive.
Amazing. In the Dream Ballet. I remember this move. Kick. I'm so glad you're here. And Kate, you know, Robert was Kate's stepdad. And so Kate knows Robert better than any of us, I think. And so I'm so honored that you're here today. Thank you for speaking about Robert.
Thank you. You know, Papa was the last one off the book, and it would appear that the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree because I'm using notes. Show me grace, please. When Robert Crawford came into my life, I was 12 years old. He married my mother on December the 5th, 1992, in a rock shop in Decatur, Georgia. And that honestly tells you almost everything you need to know about him right from the beginning. Robert was not a traditional man. He didn't care much for the idea that life had to look a certain way just because everyone said it should. He taught me very early that there are many ways to build a beautiful life, and that lesson shaped me forever. He brought our family into community theater through the Henry Players, and suddenly our lives became filled with rehearsals, music, costumes, cast parties, and people. So many people. Many of you will remember him on stage, Harold Hill, The Music Man, The King, and The King and I, our beloved Cowardly Lion, the voice of Audrey II in Little Shop of Horrors, Herod and Jesus Christ Superstar. Oh my goodness, just to name a few. And of course, that giant personality that could fill a room before he ever stepped into the spotlight. But some of my favorite memories happened off stage. I remember endless rehearsals in our living room when my mother was at the piano and chorus voices echoed through the house late into the night. I remember cast parties where our home was overflowing with laughter and storytelling and friendship. Our house was always open, always. Robert believed that community was family, and that might be one of the greatest gifts he ever gave me. Today, much of my professional life is centered around creating spaces where people feel connected, welcomed, and seen. That didn't come from nowhere. I learned it from watching him. I learned it from living in a home where people constantly gathered, celebrated, laughed, sang, argued, dreamed, and belonged. And my mother was always the gracious host for all of it. He celebrated people, not just during the big moments, but constantly. Birthdays, holidays, Halloween parties, New Year's parties, cast parties. Honestly, if there was the slightest excuse to gather people together, he was ready for it. And somehow, in the middle of all of that joy and noise and theater and music, he also had an incredible way of making people feel individually important. I know because I experienced it over and over again. Story time. When I was 15 years old, I was upstairs in my bedroom at 2:30 in the morning painting one of the many murals I had on my walls. Yes, I had murals, and yes, I had a waterbed. As I rounded the corner of that waterbed, I hit my knee and stumbled, and an entire pint of paint spilled directly onto the carpet. I was terrified. I ran downstairs expecting anger, frustration, and disappointment, all the things you expect when you're a teenager who has just made a terrible mistake. Instead, Robert simply looked at me and said, "Well, let's get to work." For the next 2 hours, we poured water on the carpet and soaked up paint with towels together. That stain never came out. For years, every time I stepped across that spot in my room, I remembered something much more important than ruined carpet. I remembered the kindness that met me in my fever. That was who Robert was. Again and again throughout my life, he showed me what it looked like to respond to people with grace instead of anger, with patience instead of shame, with love instead of control. He loved me exactly where I was, and believe me, I was not always conventional. Many of you remember. Actually, one of my favorite stories probably proves this pretty well. During rehearsals for Red, Hot, and Cold, someone suddenly stopped and asked, "Is someone smoking a cherry cigar?" Without missing a beat, Robert said, "That's probably our Katie." Sure enough, moments later, people opened my bedroom door to find a 13-year-old me sitting on my waterbed smoking a cherry cigar. Now, I know that might not sound like textbook parenting to everyone in this room, but Robert cared much more about character than conformity. What mattered to him was how you treated people, whether you were kind, whether you loved well, whether you made people feel safe and accepted. My life has not been linear. I've done things completely out of order. I've made very unconventional choices. I've walked my own path more times than I can count. And I think I had the courage to do that because Robert Crawford loved me in a way that never demanded that I become someone else first. He trusted me to become myself. One of the most beautiful examples of who he was came at the end of the summer before my junior year of high school. My parents told me it was my turn to host a party, so we threw a huge pool party for all of my friends before school started back. As the night was winding down, my mother handed me a small model Volkswagen Bug. I smiled and thanked her, admired it for exactly what I thought it was, and she gently said, "Look inside." Inside was a key. Robert had secretly bought a perfectly restored Volkswagen Bug for me. Perfectly. And I was speechless. Because that was who he was. He wanted people to feel celebrated. He wanted people to feel seen. He wanted people to feel like they mattered deeply. And what I realize now is that none of those moments were actually about paint or theater or cigars or even a car. They were about love. Intentional love. Joyful love. Chosen love. Because the truth is, Robert didn't have to love me the way that he did. I was not his by birth, but I was his by choice. And I cannot think of a greater gift a person can give another human being than that. He was there for the wedding to my kid's dad. He walked me halfway down the aisle. He was there for the births of my children, for my college graduation, for home projects and life transitions and dreams and failures and celebrations and ordinary Tuesdays. He showed up over and over again. And if there's one thing I hope everyone remembers about Robert Crawford, it is this. He made people feel safe to be fully themselves. What an extraordinary legacy that is. I got the incredible honor of sitting in the front row of that kind of love for many, many years, and I will carry it with me for the rest of my life. Papa, I hope wherever you are, you see it, and you're proud.
Amazing. So, wow, amazing. He made, they were a real family. He made me feel like family. Can we go to the next slide here? And he made another person. This is on the right there. That is Miss Charity Gill. And on the left, on the other side in green, is my wife, Lindsay. Lindsay and Charity are two witches, the good witch and the bad witch. My wife got to be the understudy for Glenda and Wicked on Broadway for 15 years, and Charity got to be Elphaba in Japan at Universal Studios. And so we just went to see Charity this week. Today, Charity is not here today. She wanted to be here. Today is Charity's birthday, of all days. And we were gonna do this. She could do the memorial on Father's Day. And there was a production here. And we sort of had to pick. And she said, well, Jared, you're doing all this and I'm on tour. And that day is my birthday and I'm in Miami. And I said, well, would you record something for Robert? And so, let's go to the next slide. She recorded this just for you guys today. I hope you enjoy it.
When all the world is a hopeless jungle and the raindrops tumble around, heaven opens a magic lane. When all the clouds darken up the skyway, there's a rainbow highway to be found. Leading from your window pane to a place beyond the sun, just a step beyond the rain. Somewhere someday I'll wish upon a star and wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where troubles melt like lemon drops, way above the chimney tops. That's where you'll find me.
spent way too much time on that slideshow, but was had an amazing gift from Charity. Oh my gosh, she sent me that recording, and I was like, she's like, you can just do the chorus, and I was like, no, we're gonna do the whole thing. Melanie has been amazing getting me all of these photos. Thank you, Melanie. Melanie's the whole reason that she contacted me and told me, I want you to know that Robert really loved you. And she had told me, of course, Charity told me the day that Robert had passed. And a week or two later, Melanie contacted me on Facebook, and I said, what are we doing? Where's the funeral? What's happening? And she said, well, I don't know if we're gonna have a viewing at Cannon Cleveland or go sing karaoke at the Mexican restaurant. Thank goodness for Paula Whipple got me in touch with these amazing ladies. So let's move forward. Let's go to the next slide here. I'm so excited to have Damon and Kay Bohan come up here. It's Kay, not E. There's no E at the end, it's just K-A-Y. Damon and Kay are my friends from way back, and they are native Floridians like me, baby, right? Yeah, but they live at Margaritaville, and I live at Disney World. It sounds fun, right? I got one more mic for you. Yeah, magical places. I got one more mic.
Okay, cool. There you go. Yeah, I'll let you start that.
Okay. Yeah, we're all living in Fantasyland now. So we got involved with the Henry Players actually because of Amy Chapin. Damon was her hairdresser back in 1997 when she was in the salon having her hair done, looking at the score and learning lines to My Fair Lady. And Damon just looked over her shoulder, or maybe you should tell this story.
Yeah, so she was reading this thing that looked like remember Life magazines? They were really these big magazines, and Amy said, I asked her what she's reading, and she said, I'm just going over my libretto. And I kind of looked around, I'm like, what's a libretto? I didn't know anything about theater. I wasn't a theater guy. I played in rock bands and stuff. So anyway, I was a hairdresser. So anyway, we ended up going to Blockbuster. Remember that? That's how old we are. We went to Blockbuster and we rented My Fair Lady. And by the way, it was the very first show that I ever saw when I grew up in Miami. My parents brought me to My Fair Lady, which bored me to tears because I was like 8 years old. So anyway, after we rented it, I kind of looked at Kay and I said, we got to do something with her hair because she has short hair. It's like, how's she going to pull this off? Eliza was supposed to have long, ratty hair in the beginning, and then
starts with the bun and with smudge on her face, and then she turns into this beautiful, elegant woman for the big whatever gala thing.
Yeah, for the gala, the horse race, and all that. Anyway, so I said, do you mind if we do your hair? Because there was nobody at the Players really doing hair at that time. So anyway.
And you brought us a wig or two,
yeah.
I believe, and said, well, here, work your magic, and I did. And so showed up, but this is going into also meeting Robert.
This Crawford. Is how we met Robert.
This is how we met
Robert. He was on a ladder, aiming lights. He's way up in the ceiling, aiming lights. We come strolling in, and Robert looks over his shoulder in that big booming voice, and it's like, oh, you must be here for Amy. So the word had gotten out apparently that we were going to be your entourage, right? The hair and makeup folks were here, just for Amy. But anyway, that was our first meeting of Robert, and like everyone has said, wow, he just embraced us. He gave us the acting bug. After being backstage and seeing the magic of theater, we just, and then obviously we got involved and all that. But Robert was definitely the catalyst to welcoming us and making us feel like family.
Before My Fair Lady, I was a little bit bummed that my husband drugged me into, we're going to do hair and makeup. When he says we, he means me. I don't even know what he did backstage. Ran around and talked to people.
But you were great, Kay.
Okay. So anyway, I was a little bummed. I'm like, here I am, and I got to work for free. And I thought this is going to be like a second grade school production or something. I didn't know. And so anyway, Amy was this was dress rehearsal week, and Amy, I could hear her singing, and I ran to the wings and looked and went, oh my gosh, Julie Andrews is in the building. And I got just all new respect for the whole, and then we got the acting bug, of course. And then I counted, I think, unless we've missed some, there are 7 shows that Damon and I were either involved with Robert somehow, backstage, on stage, acting with, being directed by, or whatever, about 7 shows. And My Fair Lady, Wizard of Oz, Joseph the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, Streetcar Named Desire. And Streetcar Named Desire was the first show that Wizard of Oz was the first show, but Streetcar was, I was the lead actress. I was Blanche Dubois, and I was scared to death. And Robert was in the show, and I'm going to be honest, Robert, he just gave me stage direction. I was green. I didn't know, I didn't know center, up, front, but I didn't know anything. I was terrified. I had all these lines to learn, and he helped me so much, and he was patient, and he was also my first stage kiss, too. And then after Streetcar, let's see, Dearly Departed, I co-directed Death Trap that he was in with Debbie Hill. And The Man Who Came to Dinner, he was great in that show as well. And then, of course, karaoke at the Sports Oasis, which is now like a police precinct or something over there. But all those it was always Thursday nights after we finished whatever, the show or rehearsing or whatever we were doing at the elementary school. We could just go down the road to the Sports Oasis and do karaoke. And Damon's got a little surprise later for a song that Robert always performed at karaoke. And then, of course, all the multiple cast parties. My gosh. Whoa. And again, didn't matter what time, we had to get up and work the next day. And
Robert was there. So, little footnote, and we'll get off the stage because I know we're running short on time. So, one of the cast parties, one of the legendary, infamous, cast parties, were like in a hot tub. We had a hot tub at our house. And so we're all in the hot tub, a bunch of us are in there. We're doing our thing, just laughing, drinking, having fun. And the next thing you know, we see a pair of, bathing suit bottoms floating in the pool. And we're like, OMG, Robert just took his pants off. He's naked in the hot tub, but he didn't care, and we didn't care, and we just kept on partying. It was, wow, crazy, legendary party. So anyway, love you, Robert.
Love you, Robert.
Thank you.
All right, well, Jeff and Tina Cooper, if you guys can come up, and we can go to the next slide there, Amanda. Thank you. Jeff and Tina are also great friends of mine. Here they are. Look at all five of us on Broadway at Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Only time I got to be on Broadway.
Look at us all on Broadway.
I was on the stage at Broadway. Good thing to take a picture.
I did a show in Marietta, and these guys let me sleep in their house for like 2 weeks. Is that not the sweetest people? Let's hear about Robert.
Well, Robert, as you all have heard, is a wonderful friend and companion, and we started looking at the times that he really liked to play the king, be the king, the one that was there holding court, right? And so I remember getting to know him, was like you were just drawn into his village. And you're part of the village now, so you're coming along with the king. And Jeff remembers some of the shows that he had as the king.
Yeah, I remember Robert as the eternal leading man. I first met Robert in My Fair Lady. Actually, that's where Tina and I met, and Damon and Kay and I met, and Randy and Amy. And when Tina and I got married, we got married on the Henry Players stage, and Randy and Amy sang at our wedding, and another gentleman who was in the cast did our wedding for us. But so Henry Players have always been part of our family, but Robert was always there. What I remember about Robert, not only being that, that eternal leading man, he carried himself with such confidence. He was really a good mentor. I really looked up to him, friendly with everybody. So I got the chance to work with him not only in that show. He was the king in Camelot. I was Lancelot. We then cast him as the King of the Forest in Wizard of Oz. Tina and I co-directed that. And actually, side note, we take credit for discovering Charity. Wasn't she awesome? She was so awesome. Every time we talk about it, so we had such a dream cast. Damon was in it, and Robert as the lion was just perfect. We had a little bit of a heartache because Damon really wanted to be the lion, but who thought, wasn't Robert wonderful as the lion? That's like a dream role. So anyway, we have fond memories of Robert being such a, treating us all like family and just being that force on the stage to really look up to.
And that's what I remember about the Crawfords, Katie and Sue Ellen and Robert. I was kind of that lost single person out there, and they always welcomed me into their home and to their vacations. And Robert was such a benevolent and kind and loving person, and he actually gave me counsel through a hard emotional time in my life, and he just was a wonderful friend. And your whole family, I just thank you so much for that time, for holding on to me and helping me through that.
So the Henry players have definitely been part of both of our lives. And so again, Robert is part of that family. That's one thing that we love so much about theater. It brings all kinds of people together, different ethnicities, ages, and you're all just one family. And so, Robert, we love you. We're going to miss you. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you guys. I want to bring up two of my friends at once. I'm going to bring up Phil Hilton and Mr. Charlie Slater, two of my co-stars. We did multiple shows together. Don't Trip on the Edge of the Stage and Sort of Dark. We had so much fun doing these shows together. South Pacific and Arts in the Place, and gosh, The Sound of Music. You were my dad, Phil. Yeah. You were my dad. Take your time, take your time. You were my dad in The Sound of Music. Come on up, Charlie. You can come up here. Both have a microphone. We'll riff. It's going to be great. Thank you, sir.
No problem.
You remember my high note in that?
And you raised that hand?
I actually had a prominent part in the Wizard of Oz too. Who rang that bell?
That's right.
Anyway, there's definitely a lot that I could say about Robert. He's just an amazing person, like everybody else has said. The thing I remember the most, and I can hear him talking now, is his voice. It's just one of those voices that if he was to talk right now somewhere, that's Robert, no question. He was just and it was, for all those lead roles he did, that was his forte, that was his specialty. He could just get up there and command an audience and be entertaining and just really get into the character that he was portraying. And that's what he taught me. I was very young with the players. I came in at Fiddler on the Roof with Charlie talked me into it. And
never forgave me for that.
I thought, well, I'm just gonna put what is that on my head, a glass on my head and balance it. You know, that's the extent of what I did basically for that. I was so impressed with that show that got to know Robert more when the technical stuff was going on. I had the ability, but I was a very young actor. I did not know acting, just like you don't know where to stand or whatever, staging, whatever. Who's that just said that?
Okay.
Yeah. I know exactly where she's coming from because I was in the same boat. And I just thought I was just enthralled by all the acting and just, you know, and getting to know Robert after that was just an amazing experience for me. I felt like I could do this. He made me feel like I could do that. And I went on to be Captain Von Trapp in Sound Music. And I mean, he had that, we worked on technical together, and I did my best role ever. And it's not about me, I know, I'm sorry, but it was, what was it, Dawn? Oklahoma. Try to remember, try to remember. Allie Hackman, yeah, that was my most fun role ever. I just enjoyed doing that. But Robert was, we spent a lot of time together because he worked with me a little bit in different jobs and stuff, and we'd talk about things. His favorite, I haven't referred to my notes yet, that's fine. Anyway, when he was doing the Cuckoo's Nest, I remember all the conversations that we had, and he was like, I don't want to candy coat this thing. I want it to be real. I want you to feel the experience. But you can't hardly do that adult show without toning it down a little bit. And he did it. He did it in a very graceful way, but he still came across as, what was that character's name?
Mick Murphy?
Mick Murphy, yeah. That was a great show. He did a great job in that whole thing. But I worked on the technical with him, and he was just, I think we complemented each other in that respect. He would get me to come up with ideas about a knife coming out of the wall, you know, something like that. And we'd run by each other, and then we'd come up with that idea and made it work. So that was amazing. He was just such a good mentor when I was in early acting and in life in general. I mean, I moved up to Decatur and finished my career with the Henry Players. But I will let Charlie talk. But Robert, he was the greatest. He was really good, and I thank you for the opportunity to come and share that.
Well, I'm kind of a late bloomer. I came to the Henry Players at age 51, and I had always thought about acting or doing something, and it wasn't until Fiddler on the Roof, I said, you know what, I want to be in that. You know, Jared mentioned we might have had some Jewish people in the Players. Well, on the token, right? There may have been more of us, but they haven't come forward. Oh, we did have Gerald Priven.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, main two things I remember about Robert, you know, I was in 14 plays, and I can't remember for sure which ones I was with Robert in. But the mentor part of it, of course, cannot be denied. He just was just wonderful to be around, and a role model for all of us. But the thing, well, it was mentioned before that the man stayed on book right down to the end. And we all got kind of used to it, but at showtime, he would come through like a champ, and we all knew it. It was just his style. And of course, the cast parties, the after play parties we had, I can't go into all those details. Let's just say it was something to behold, and something I'll never forget. So we can hold a glass up to Robert in his memory, and we will miss him. Thank you.
I'm a little surprised. I'm going to call up a few men in the audience. We're a little older than we used to be 30 years ago. Charlie, can I have David, Ariel come up here? Damon, Jeff, Randy, me. We're gonna throw something together. We're gonna do a song from South Pacific. Everything's been highlighted here. Jeff, where's your name? Can you grab Damon and David over there? And Randy. We're gonna do There Is Nothing Like a Dame, just like we did it, Phil, back in 1995, 96? It was a different 96. Thank you for that. We have Broadway's Robert Ray. Mark, come on up. You got a sheet of paper. Mark Rose, get that paper. Russell, you have a chance, Russell. You can come up here. Betty was in South Pacific with us too.
Hey, Jared, it's definitely 1996 because Madison was born in March of 96, and that was her first show as a baby.
Grab that one, yeah. That's amazing. You know, of course, Mark and I did a little shot with Robert. Okay, here we go.
You might have been Jewish, the star, but hey, first brother.
Yes, Russell.
And look, I still am now.
You're the man. Okay, we're gonna do this with Broadway's Robert Ray on the piano. Let's vamp it out. Ready, Robert? Okay, Jeff, you're gonna be first, okay? And I'm gonna put the mic on.
We got sunlight on the sand, we got moonlight in the sea.
We got mangoes and bananas you can pick right off the tree.
We got volleyball and ping pong and a lot of dandy games.
What ain't we got? We ain't got a day.
We get packages from home, we get movies, we get shows.
We get speeches from our skipper and advice from Tokyo Rose.
We get letters doused with perfume, we get dizzy from the smell.
What don't we get? You know damn well.
We got nothing to put on a clean white suit for. What we need is what there ain't no substitute for.
There is nothing like a day, nothing in the world. There is nothing you can name that is anything like a day.
We feel restless, we feel blue, we feel lonely and in brief.
We feel every kind of feeling but the feeling of relief.
We feel hungry as a wolf felt when he met Red Riding Hood.
What don't we feel? We don't feel good.
Lots of things
things in life are beautiful, but brother, there is one particular thing that is not whatsoever any way, shape, or form like any other.
There is nothing like a day, nothing in the world. There is nothing you can name that is anything like a day.
There are no books like a day,
And nothing looks like a day. There are no drinks like a day. And nothing thinks like a day. Nothing acts like a day. Or attracts like a day. There ain't a thing that's wrong with any man here that can't be cured by putting him near a girly, womanly, female, feminine
Guys, thank you. Thank you, Robert Ray on the piano. Amazing. That's a souvenir.
I gotta say one thing.
Yeah, say it, Mark. Say it, Mark.
And that right there is why these players are still around.
This will be 30 seconds, but we live in Texas, and I kept telling Lynn when I heard about Robert's passing, I want to go. I really need to go. And I knew I would regret it if I didn't come, and I am so thankful that I did. I have been blessed by every single person that's been up here. But I got to throw kudos to D&D over here, Debbie and Dawn. Had it not been for Dawn Willard, there would have been no Henry Players for the Rhodes family. It started out as just me. My wife Lynn had never been on stage. I went out of town for a week, and when I came back, she said, "You got Seymour in Little Shop, and I'm in it too." I said, "What?" She went to try out. But Dawn got us started, Oklahoma, and we have no fonder memories from the Henry Players than Guys and Dolls with you, Debbie.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I'm so proud of you. Like, and how do you still look exactly like you look? I'm like, I thought they were going to be rolling in on wheelchairs. Just kidding. I'm kidding.
Let's go to the next slide here. I'm bringing up Mr. David Ariel. Look at the Henry Players, the Henry Awards from back in the day. You recognize anybody up there? Take a second to look at this. I see Phil over there. There's Betty. There's Amy Chafin. There's Robert in the bow tie. Randy, James Winowski, Sue Ellen.
Lynn in the middle.
Tina Lynn in the middle. Oh, amazing. Absolutely amazing. But let's go to the next slide now. Mr. David Ariel is coming up. Sorry, one more, Amanda. I apologize. Look at these pictures, David. He didn't know I had these pictures. You remember where the Oasis karaoke was? There used to be a Winn-Dixie there. And my dad, the pastor at First Baptist, he had like the unlimited double prints at Winn-Dixie. So he took all the pictures for the Henry Players. And these pictures are from Oklahoma and the Kenyanite. And boy, David, you were terrifying as Jeff Fry. I was in the ensemble of that show. So please, come up here and give us your fondest Robert memories, pal. Thank you.
Well, I kind of chose to do this spontaneously because, well, you guys know Robert, he was kind of spontaneous.
Yeah.
I might regret not writing something down. I kind of wanted to start in with, I guess, I met Robert when we both tried out for the music band. And I liked the guy. No, really, I mean, it wasn't at that point where we got really close, you know. And probably within a year, I think it was the time we were taking equipment back to Fairburn one time that we started getting close. But it went from stuff like that to, you know, here are a couple of memories from the King and I. You know, Robert said, Asians are hairless. What? As far as their body hair. And he convinced me that we needed to be out in the backyard shaving each other's backs. I'm almost a hairless woman. I remember that. Yeah, your mom was laughing up there. Oh, yeah. And then, of course, there was, during a dress rehearsal, we all decided to go down to the local grocery store and stay in character while we were there. We get about 20, 30 feet into there, and Robert is lifting his hand and pointing toward the beer and saying, "Bring me a Budweiser." There were a lot of funny things that happened. Anyone knows that Robert was the life of the party at the cast parties. And as I said, spontaneous. Something came into Robert's head. It was in action right after it came into his head. And he was fun that way. And everybody loved him. Now I gotta say one thing about Robert and friendships. Robert wasn't halfway. If Robert was your friend, he was a good friend. He didn't take it minutely. He was there. Probably one of the main reasons they asked me up here to talk was I relayed a story to them, first of all, Melanie. And to give you a little background, I lost my wife in 2010. And there was somebody who saw how much I was hurting. He was at my house every day for hours and hours at a time. Now, what do you do in that situation? I'm sure some of you have been in Robert's position. You don't know what to say to people, but he was there. Now, this is a friend who loves you. This is a friend who really cares about you. He didn't know what to say, but he was there the whole time, day after day, hour after hour. If he loved you, he really loved you. I kind of want to throw a few thank yous out here. I want to thank Melanie Bowe for getting the ball rolling on this.
Yeah.
I want to thank Jared Bradshaw for picking us up and running with it and bringing it to the amazing program. I want to thank the Henry players for allowing us to have this in a venue that seems appropriate for little Robert on it.
Yeah.
But most of all, I would like to say a very heartfelt thank you to Robert's mom, Jean. Not only did she bring him into this world, but she instilled him with a love and an understanding of people. When Robert loved you, he loved you. And he got that from somewhere. So I thank you very much for the man that we came to know here and came to love. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you. Melanie was so amazing to donate this amazing brand new keyboard to the Henry players. And I flew in yesterday and went straight to Stockbridge to pick up the keyboard. Yes. Oh, there's Mom. And your mom is You did it. Thank you so much, Mom. Thank you so much for doing that. And we have Robert's name right here and Henry Player's name right here on both sides. Thank you for doing that. I flew in and I went and picked this up and put it together this afternoon. And when we were looking at music, the music that was playing when you came into the theater was Robert's favorite music. But Melanie called me and told me about some of his favorite songs. And she mentioned this song, and I had never heard it. And I love music. I'm a student of the theater. It's not a theater song. There's something theatrical about it. Did you know the song, Robert Ray?
Yeah.
Yeah, you, Robert, do. He's like, of course. He's like,
about 80 years worth.
He's like, I have to hear baritone wannabes sing this stuff all the time. But this song is beautiful, and the lyrics are perfect to sing for one of your heroes at their memorial. So I want to do this, one of Robert's favorite songs. It's called A Song for You. Look at him, is that not adorable? But it was all about his fedora. There we go. I've been so many places in my life at times. I've sung a lot of songs, I've made some bad rhymes. I've acted out my life in stages with 10,000 people watching, but we're alone now, and I'm singing this song for you. I know your image of me is what I hope to be. I treated you unkindly, but can't you see? There's no one more important to me, so can't you just see through me? 'Cause I'm alone now, and I'm singing this song for you. You taught me precious secrets, the truth withholding nothing. You were out in front and I was hiding. Oh, but now I'm so much better. So if the words don't come together, just listen to the melody, 'cause my love's in there hiding. I love you in a place where there's no space or time. I love you for my life, 'cause you're a friend of mine. And when my life is over, remember when we were together. We were alone and I was singing my song for you. And when my life is over, I remember when we were together. But I'm alone now, and I'm singing this song for you. Robert Ray. Thank you guys. Isn't that a beautiful song? Thank you, Robert, for letting me know about that song. So I know it's hot and we're gonna wrap things up. I have one of Robert's greatest friends here, and Vinny is over here. Vinny, I'd like you to come up before Damon wraps everything up. Vinny, come on up here, Vinny. It's really dark, and I was like, hi, Vinny, I'm Jared. He's like, I know, we've met. And I was like, oh, it's you. Don't trip, it's very dark. Okay, Vinny, my man, I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for being here. Did you ever hear him sing that song in karaoke?
Yes.
Wow, I put it in the Michael Bublé lower key because it's in a much higher key. Thank you, Vinny, appreciate it.
Well, hey. Wow. You know, when I first got here, I heard everybody, I said, man, I really want to come up and say something. And then I heard everybody say everything I wanted to say. And I'm like, well, do I still want to tell another Robert story? And I'm like, yeah, I think I do. I am, for those who don't know me, I guess I'm the Henry Players Northern Import. I guess I came to the Players, Guys and Dolls, right? When was that? I see Debbie was here?
Right here.
Yeah, what year was that?
You were 90.
90 something.
What year was that? 95, wasn't it?
95, yeah. And for those of you who don't know, I'm wearing a great pinstripe suit that doesn't quite fit, but I put it on for a reason, because in 95 I had this suit, and I worked at IBM at the time, and I had a meeting, so I wore my suit to work. And I was in Georgia. I moved from New York, and I was in Georgia for about a year. And I was kind of lonely. I had just gotten divorced. My wife didn't come with me. I was alone. And I didn't have a lot of friends. I hadn't met anybody. And somebody suggested the last thing I did in New York was I got into theater. And the last play I did in New York was Guys and Dolls. And someone said, hey, this group in Henry County is doing Guys and Dolls, you should go audition. I had no idea where Henry County was. I didn't know where McDonough was. And I had to come straight from work, so I had my suit on. And it took me about 2 hours to find the McDonough Elementary School. But I walked in after 2 hours thinking, I'm not gonna do this show. This is too far to drive, but I came all this way, I might as well audition. And I walked in my gray pinstripe suit, and the first person who jumped up to meet me was Robert Crawford, who looked at me with this big smile and says, wow, you came in costume. I was like, hey, what are you trying to say? You know, what is that? So we immediately became friends, and I auditioned, and then I still wasn't going to do the show, but as Kay and Damon pointed out, it was a Thursday night that the audition was. And after the auditions, Robert talked me into going to Sports Oasis, and I met the karaoke professionals. You talk about being a kid from New York who wanted to do theater, always wanted to sing, can't hold a tune for his life, and sat at a table listening to Robert, and Donna was there, and Charity sang, and I was like, oh my God. And Robert did what I'm sure Damon's gonna do later, he did his song, and I was like, yeah, I don't care if it takes 2 hours, I'm doing the show. So Debbie thankfully cast me, and I did the show. And I guess the point of what I'm trying to make, or what a lot of people are saying, is that Robert made everybody feel like home. I mean, it's like you said, David said it so well, if Robert was your friend, he was your friend. And he made you feel like it was a home. And although there was some weird stuff, it was my pleasure to offer Robert my home for the last 10 or 15 years that he got to live with me and share my house.
Amazing.
A lot of people said I was crazy for doing it, but you know what? Outside of my dog, he was the one person who was always glad when I came home. You know, I would always come home and like my dog Chino, you know, he always greet me with a smile and a joke. And it was, it made coming home feel pretty good. But one last story I want to tell, I became stuck with the Players. I ended up doing, gosh, I don't know how many shows, a lot, never with a star. That was the other thing with Robert. As everybody said, Robert was the leading man, and he went for all the parts I wanted to go for. You know, I wanted to be the Cowardly Lion too. You know, and the one thing about Wizard of Oz, I remember clearly, I got called and they said, "You want to be a Winky?" Anybody know what a Winky is? That's a Winky. I had no idea what a Winky is. But I ended up winning an award, my first Henry for the Players, not as a Winky, as the big fat tree in the middle. That tree, I think, became the most used prop in history because it was James, they were building trees, and I remember Robert, they had to have 3 talking trees that flew the apples, you know? And they asked me to be one of the trees, and they built 2 of them, and I didn't fit. And, you know, I couldn't get in. So Robert said, we need Vince to be a tree, and he worked with James, and they built a really big tree, round tree that I could fit in, and that tree was used in Camelot and other trees, players used trees. But that was fun. And then I decided I wanted to try my hand at directing, and I got to be the assistant director for Streetcar, Kay and Tina. An amazing cast, but they did an amazing job. Great show. Remember some fun Damon stories about that show, but we'll talk about that later. But then I got to be a director, and I chose Death Trap to be my first show. And like the fool I am, I cast Robert, Debbie Hill, and Phil Hilton in my first show as a director. So basically, I did nothing. I gave direction, and they were like, yeah, that's interesting, we're doing it the way we want to do it. appreciate the input, Vince. Good job. So, but that was fun. But that was Robert. You could call him a lot of things, and I know I pretty much called him every one of them, and everybody else has. But like David said, the one thing you call him is a friend. And I miss my friend.
I'm kidding, Jimmy.
Moxie. You got Moxie. That's amazing. I got to see Jean yesterday in Stockbridge, and Robert's mom. Jean, I'm just amazed. I'm 46 years old, and you came out and hugged me yesterday, and you didn't have a wheelchair or a walker or a cane. How old are you, 72? 82, 92. She is 95 and a half. Robert Ray's amazing mom. Isn't that amazing? That's amazing. She's amazing, and we cried yesterday and hugged in the garage, and it was wonderful. So if you can't tell, I'm not Robert's best friend. There are people here that have known him longer and that were closer to him. But man, I loved him, and I'm so glad and honored, and he's honored that all of you came out today to McDonough. You drove in, you flew in, thank you for being here for him. He was such a mentor, and he cared, and he mattered. Robert Crawford mattered, and he changed so many people's lives. And he changed my life. And talking about, you see in this picture, you see how he's holding his script like he always did until opening night? Even on opening night, he would be in the wing going, okay. But when he came to see me in Jersey Boys on Broadway, I was a swing. If you don't know what a swing is an understudy that swings from part to part. So I learned 10 of the 11 roles in the show, and I had note cards that I laminated, because it's not that you don't know your lines or your harmonies, it's like, where do I exit and where do I get dressed next, Am I the pizza man next or the policeman next? And when I brought Robert backstage, I said, Robert, remember how you'd always you'd fold the script in half and stick it in the back of your pocket with that Tams Whit mark, and you'd always have it? I said, that's mine, and I would laminate the note card and stick it inside my dress sock in my Jersey Boys Italian suit, and I could pull up the sock, and it would be with me on stage, because when I changed clothes, the pants came off, and I wouldn't have the cards in my pocket or the coat. And so he loved that. He said, that's a great idea. Anyway, he changed my life, and I remember before I went to college, he went to school for theater, and I said, I want to do this. I want to do it forever. He said, Jared, all you have to do is keep doing it. If you go to get a degree and keep building your resume, he said, how many shows did you do with the Indie Players? And I was like, I just did 9, and I did 4 with my high school and with my church. He said, all you have to do is keep doing it, and you're going to succeed. And he was right. And I'll never forget that. He said, all you got to do is keep doing it. Keep putting shows on your resume. And his resume is longer than any of ours. It was ridiculous. So thank you for being here today. I'd love to talk to anybody afterwards. And Damon, I want you to come up and end this memorial like Robert Crawford would at Oasis if it wasn't a government building now, okay?
Okay, let's do 2 more. I think it's 2 slides. Let's see. I think we'll skip that.
All right, yeah, I'm gonna need some backup with this.
So one more. Yeah, here we go. This is it.
And you guys are gonna be able to sing.
Let's get the volume up.
This stuff.
Give me some volume.
Mustang Sally. Guess you better slow that Mustang down. Oh Lord, here we go. Mustang Sally now, baby. Girl, you better slow that Mustang down. You've been riding all over town. You better put your flat feet on the ground. Woo! Let's do it. Listen now, girls, I'm gonna need something. All you wanna do is ride around, Sally. Ride, Sally, ride. That's what I'm talking about. All you wanna do